proper succession planning of the organization to know who is going to take over after this person retires. There should also be some training of the employees who are already in place, so that immediately this end of department retires, that they should be in a position to take over. Because it's actually very disappointing for one to work in an acting capacity for too long, and then when they now get a replacement, this person is not considered who has been acting on acting capacity. It can be very disappointing after working for so long, only getting allowance without being properly remunerated. I want to say that it's very important for an organization to prepare its employees, especially when they just get employed. They should come up with a pension plan, a pension scheme, so that in the event of retirement, this person is well equipped with the proper remuneration or proper pension money, which will help them in retirement, so that they don't link around in the organization. It's also good to prepare them for an organization, but both in the civil service and in the private sector. They should come up with a medical scheme. They should not only a medical scheme, but a medical cover which would also work after retirement. And that plan is there, and they should start contributing early. When they people get employed, they contribute towards their medical cover after retirement. They also contribute towards their pension after retirement. And this would ensure that once they retire, then there will be no fear of going out for retirement. The pensionable age of 60 years and 65 years for people with disability, this one I support, because it's better to put it in the Act instead of just being in the regulations, because this one can be changed anytime. So I support that. Then the other thing, Madam Speaker, which I want to talk about is that employees, that is after retirement, people should be paid immediately. There are some, especially teachers, who are after retiring, they take too long to be paid. The government should ensure that the pension money is paid at the right time. Then, Madam Speaker, I would also comment on the rate of unemployment in our country. It's quite high, and it's also very disappointing to see, especially teachers who stay for too long before being employed. You see a teacher who is almost attaining 45 years, 50 years, and has not been employed by the Teacher Service Commission. And Madam Speaker, we also agree with me that there is a lot of imbalance in our country, especially when it comes to employment of teachers. You find some regions where teachers have been employed who have just left college. Others leave college and they take too long to be employed. So there should be some balance. So what happens to that one who gets employed at 45? Because after that 45 years, they will not get any employment. So what will happen to them? So there should be some balancing in the country, especially on the employment of teachers. As I've said, in some regions, they are employed immediately. Other regions, they wait, and it's very, very disappointing to see them having been trained as P1 teachers, and they don't get employed. So, Madam Speaker, I support and also say that there should be proper training, proper planning, so that by the time one comes to retire, that the institution knows who is going to take over. We should not encourage even waiting for 3 months, even waiting for 12 months. It should be after retiring. After one retires, they go home and give room for another person to take over. Because imagine acting indefinitely, acting without knowing whether you are going home after 3 months, after 6 months. you will not be productive in the institution because you are just planning on when and how you are going home. So let's have proper planning, proper succession planning. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I support.
Thank you. The Honorable John Waweru, member for Dagoretti South.
Honorable Speaker, I thank you. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank the Honorable Benjamin Gathira Mwangi, because this is a bill that he had brought to the House in the previous year, and I'm glad that it has now seen the light of day. And I want to say right from the onset that I do support. Madam Speaker, one of the points that is being made against the argument that the Honorable Member for Embakasi Central is making is that there are people who are saying that there is reason for extension of time for an individual who has special skills. Madam Speaker, we ought to ask ourselves, if an individual has been employed in the public service at the age of 20-something or 30-something, it means that this individual will have worked for not less than 30 years before they are due for retire. An entire institution cannot be unable to prepare a successor for such an individual. And so, Madam Speaker, there is no argument that can be made that there is one individual who ought to be retained because they've got special skills. So on that point, Madam Speaker, I want to not only support this amendment, but also say here that when it comes to the third reading, I shall be seeking to re-amend the provision so that the age of retirement is reduced to around 55 years, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this is a country that has a median age of 19. Today, this is an extremely young country. It means, Madam Speaker, that with every year, when we are graduating in excess of 500,000 individuals from Form 4, and in excess of 150,000 graduates every year, Madam Speaker, it means that there are very few spaces available for absorption into the public service and a huge number of supply for people who can work. But Madam